how did his teammates have information?
Yeah.
Like, where were they getting the information from? Now, if they were reading the pitcher as he was tipping pitches, that's a different story. If they're banging on a garbage can or they're using some sort of electronic device, then yeah, I have a real big problem with it. But if they are noticing that a pitcher is tipping pitches or something like that, this has been a part of the game for years and years and years and years and years. So you can say whatever you want. If it's that and it's that part of it, then I have absolutely no issue with it. I mean, this isn't like Verlander using
Scherzer.
alcohol. Scherzer using alcohol to wipe his hands to activate the rosin. This is a completely different set of circumstances. So, they still steal signs. Mm-hmm. I think that you have to be really careful about saying how you say, because I'd like to know where they were getting the information from, and the only way I could think that they would be getting that information would be reading the pitcher himself, not in any other way, shape, or form.
Yeah, sure. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I think Aaron Judge is a cheater, or I think Aaron Judge should be suspended, or I think this or that. I mean, I called it the Aaron Judge cheating scandal sort of in a facetious way in the beginning of the show. I am fully convinced that the excuse and explanation that he gave after the game was BS, and he was trying to get some sort of edge and some sort of information. Now, do I think that they, got some sort of digital guy and tech guy and the Yankees version of Anthony Gallo or Martin Travers, and they tapped into the pitch comm of the Toronto Blue Jays and they were able to get the sign? No. But whether it was tipping pitches or where the catcher is set up or something, there was being information relayed to Aaron Judge. And the reason why I really firmly believe this is not only just the explanation after the game, which you could just tell that he was making something up off the top of his head. You just know when somebody's saying something, you read the body language, you see what they're doing. He was just making all of that up. But his excuse was the team was still chirping after Aaron Boone got thrown out, and he was annoyed that they were chirping during that at-bat. Okay, so let me ask you this. At that very moment that he looks over, he did it the same time in the at-bat, which was about a second and a half before the pitch was thrown. Both times that he was caught on camera doing it. The other thing is in between pitches where normally a dugout is screaming at an umpire because it's after a call they don't like and they don't want to distract their player. It's usually after the pitch. Aaron Judge is not looking back at the dugout. He's not gesturing towards the dugout. He's not telling them to calm down or shut up or any of that. He's doing it at that exact moment right before the pitch is thrown on multiple times.
So they must have the pitchers. He's tipping pitches or something, unless somehow, some way they tapped into the pitch comm, which I hope is not the case.
Yeah, I mean, he's the only one, Aaron Judge, that was caught doing this. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure John Boy and everybody else is going to comb through the rest of the game. And the reason why this was brought up is, one, the Blue Jays broadcast noticed it. Two, when Aaron Judge does something, people are going to catch it more. So
plus, he had 2 home runs.
Well, that's the other part of it. And in that at-bat that the Blue Jays were talking about it, that wasn't just a home run. I mean, that was a straight up, shoot it into space shot at 468 feet or whatever the hell it was. So that's another thing that raises the eyebrows.
Well, I mean, again, let's see where this goes. I mean, we could sit here and speculate all morning long. He obviously was looking at something, and somebody was giving him some sort of information.
Yeah.
And he knew exactly what was coming. I mean, he was right on those baseballs. But then again, every time he hits a home run, he's right on those baseballs.
Yeah, and if the Blue Jays are doing something that the Yankees are picking up on, and it's a legal thing, it happens in football all the time. Like if there's a tell with a quarterback, or there's a snap count, or a wide receiver is, when it's a pass play, he's adjusting his gloves. When it's a run play, he's not. There's things like that happen in sports all over the place that teams pick up on that's not illegal. And I'm not saying what the Yankees were doing was illegal. I just know that what he said after the game was a straight up lie because he was getting information from the dugout at that moment of the at-bat. So,
right, but here's the other thing.
And good for him, by the way, if they picked up on it.
Exactly. So if in fact that was what was going on, then there's no way that they are going to admit that, oh, yeah, we got a tip on the pitcher. There could be somebody that's in that dugout that knows that pitcher.
Yeah.
You know what
Could be any number of things.
It could be any number of things that are going on here. I don't want to say that it's as nefarious as I'm sure some Toronto Blue Jay fans are talking about this morning.
Yeah, and if the shoe were on the other foot, and if this happened to a Mets or Yankees opponent, or we saw, let's say, for example, Bryce Harper doing it, we'd be all over him.
So he even points to the dugout as he's rounding first base. Did you see that?
I did not. I don't remember seeing that. Was that the second home run or the first home? That was the first home run.
It was the first home run.
That's why I didn't see it, because the second home run was the one that was in question. So the first, if I don't know if CBS Sports Network has it, he did not point to the dugout after the second home run, but it is something else.
I mean, ESPN's all over it. They're enlarging his head to show you the eyes. You got to see if he's pointing to the dugout. Yeah, there he is. He's pointing to the dugout.
After the first one. That's funny. That's unbelievable. Yeah, and I just want to, once again, make it clear that I don't think that this is a bad thing at all. I just know that it's a thing. And I've stayed consistent with steroid guys, the Astros, all of this stuff.
Whatever.
Teams trying to gain an edge, football, Belichick, Brady. I don't care. I actually love it. I love it when teams try to gain an edge like this. And I hope that the Yankees picked up on something. And the fact that it worked, that's great. And then that means that they're a step ahead of their opponent. I don't think that they're filming stuff. I don't think they have cameras out there. I don't think that they tapped into the pitch. I don't think they did any of that. I think that they picked up on something and they were giving Aaron Judge a heads up as to what was coming, and it was working. That's what was going on.
Well, when he rounded first base, he pointed a finger over there.
Yeah, good job, guys.
Yeah, good job, guys.
Good job.
So let
me know it was
again,
coming.
His explanation to me, all that tells me is that they do not want to divulge how they have any information. Why would you?
There's no other way to answer that question. But you knew he was lying about it. But how?
He's got a little smile on his face after the game. The whole thing.
Let's say you're in that situation,
okay,
and you have no. After the game, you've had microphones in your face after good things, after bad things, after whatever, and you know that you had some information this was going on, and they spring that question on you after the game. You probably didn't even have a heads up as to what was happening. That's really, how else do you answer it?
I know, but you know how many times in games, we knew what the other team was doing and would call a play and it would work to perfection.
Yeah.
I could think of 1,000 different plays that we knew because of where we were on the field, the down and distance it was, the absolute perfect coverage that they were going to give us. And we would run a play that would try to take advantage of that coverage. And when you get up there and you complete the pass and you get the first down or you get the touchdown, you walk to the sideline and you are like, man, we knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Now, we may have known what they were doing. Now, the coaching staff for us, I don't know, could have been stealing signals. We would have never known that, or we could have gone through tendencies.
Yeah, true. Now, there's an NFL Films clip of you at some point picking up on something like that, right?
It was against the Packers when we were standing on the same sideline back when they played in Milwaukee.
Yeah, so that's, and you basically were picking up on their signals.
I knew the signals, yeah.
Right, and then
I was telling Dick LeBeau, our defense coordinator, this is what they were doing.
Yeah, exactly. And that to me is totally fine.
Hey,
if you're that obvious with what you're doing that the opponent can pick it up like that and use it to their advantage, that's on you, not on them.
Yeah, so there was a game where I threw for 522 yards, and we were playing against the Washington Redskins at the time. Their defensive coordinator was the defense coordinator for the Bengals. So in 1992, he was our defensive coordinator. We lost the game at Lambeau because he kept running the same coverages over and over and over again. And a guy by the name, nobody really knew who he was, came off the bench for Don Majkowski. His name was Brett Favre.
Oh, yeah.
And he took them down the field against this damn defense that we kept running over and over and over again. And we ended up losing the game right at the end. And I remember talking to our defense coordinator, I got to try to remember his name, saying, look, you can't keep running the same, defensive coverages against, I don't care what you say, you guys just going to get into a rhythm. You got to somehow upset it. So fast forward 4 years. I'm playing for the Cardinals. This defensive coordinator is the coordinator for the Redskins. We get into the same kind of situation, albeit we were down a little bit more than Green Bay was down against our Bengal team. But we were down, and he just kept running the same damn defense that he was running 4 years ago. Next thing you know, 522 yards, we walk off the field. I see him. We're obviously friends.
Yeah.
And he goes, I think you just got me fired.
Well,
I said, well, no, you got yourself fired because you're still running the same stupid defense that you were running 4 years ago.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that, being sharp, having an edge, figuring it out, being smarter than the opponent. And that's ultimately, and I don't think we're ever going to know or find out unless there's some sort of investigation and there's evidence there. Ultimately, I think that's what happened.
The guy's name was Ron Lynn.
Ron Lynn.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He was a really good football coach, but for whatever happened late in games, man, he would just lock up and he'd run the same defense.
Ron Lynn, football coach. There he is. He is Cincinnati Bengals, 92, 93. Washington, 94, 96.
Yep.
There he is.
There he is.
The great Ron Lynn.
Yeah, so you take things, you learn things, as you go. And I don't know what they learned last night. Maybe it was, who was it, Manoah on the mound last night?
Yeah, Alek Manoah, yeah.
Yeah, so it may have been something that they saw maybe at the All-Star game last year. Somebody saw it, somebody didn't know.
Well, the second home run was not off of Manoah.
Somebody different, right?
Yeah, but I mean, to me, this every time a guy gets lit up in baseball these days, who's a good pitcher, they go back to, I don't know if we're tipping pitches. I don't know if we're tipping pitches. I don't know what was going on. Could have been tipping pitches.
Well, it's either that or he pitches for the Mets.
Right, who just flat out stinks anyway. And David Peterson cannot make another start for this team. I don't care who it is. It just cannot be him. But that's
who else you want them to bring up?
I don't care. This guy can't pitch. He's not a major leaguer. He's terrible. It doesn't give him a chance. Anyway, we'll save that for later.
Right.
But I just believe that, and this is great. The Yankees to me who have been a little bit stale, slow start, injuries, all these things that we talk about. Show some life against the Rays in that series in a split, and now show some life last night. And
7-3 in their last 10.
Right, and they're gaining an advantage over the opponent, and it's working in the game. I think that's great, but don't try to tell me you were telling your teammates to stop chirping. Now, I wonder where it goes from here. I mean, all the Yankee haters and the Houston Astro fans and that guy down in Tampa who was calling out Evan and reading from a script, like that guy's going to have a field day today.
I mean, all hell's breaking loose, really, when you think about it.
Right, like that stuff's going to happen. But like Aaron Judge is one of the handful of baseball players that would be involved in something like this that would catch the national sports media's attention. One of the few.
Well, do you think that Evan this afternoon says that Aaron Judge was cheating?
Maybe. I love baseball. I watch baseball. Aaron Judge, he's the MVP. He's great. He's awesome. I love baseball. He plays baseball. But I'll tell you. Yeah, probably. I mean, I would think so. I mean, there's more evidence that the Yankees were doing something last night than the Rays have been doing something. More hard evidence. I mean, and the Rays have been winning, and they've been great, and a bunch of no-name players who have been average to below average are having these remarkable starts, and that would be evidence for someone like Evan, as he pointed out. But, I mean, you've got real legit 2 million views, Aaron Judge moving his eyeballs around like Adam Gase in the batter's box.
Like Adam Gase.
Are you right?
Nobody's like Adam Gase.
Dart over to the dugout. A little dart over the dugout. And then bang. 467.
I mean, how quickly can he... Man, he's got to have some pretty good vision, man. Well, he obviously does because he's a great hitter, but...
Yeah. And then he licks his chops right there, too, by the way.
It's almost like he's laughing.
Oh, did you see? It was so funny. That was basically like a dog when you've got a treat in your hand. Once he looked over and he got the thing and he licked his lips. He was
oh, yeah.
And then he hit a home run, almost 500 feet. This is incredible. Oh, man, I love it. I tell you, I absolutely love it. And I'm sure it's going to be a thing all day, and it's going to leak into places like the shows, the screaming shows on ESPN. It's going to leak into all that stuff.
Screaming shows.
Oh, it's going to leak into everything.
The real question is, will it leak into the news shows?
Possibly.
I could see it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean.
Join us at Yankee Stadium for Aaron Judge darting eyeball night. It's the darting eye bobblehead.
Because you have a bobblehead that actually you push a button and his eyes. Thanks so much for watching the video.
Please like and subscribe.
And don't forget to hit the bell so you're notified when we're dropping new content.